Welcome to the Ohio AgNet podcast. I'm Matt Reese, and I'm joined today by the fantastic Kristin Flowers, who handles marketing for Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet, and some with Farm Bureau. Welcome, Kristin.
Thank you. Good morning.
And it is, so it's gone back and forth between beautiful morning and not beautiful morning out there. The sun was out earlier here in Fairfield County. I'm looking out the window. I don't know what it's doing there up in Northwest Ohio, but how's the weather been for you there in Henry County? You're sort of close to several county lines there, right? But you're in Henry County. How's the weather?
We are technically in Henry County. We're right on the line of Henry and Wood County. It's very gray. It's very wet. It seems like the past 3 weekends we've received at least an inch plus of rain. So
right,
it's wet.
It's been a very soggy stretch. Now, I don't know if you've seen this before or not, but I've seen this thing and it seems like it's fairly accurate. It's called the 12 Seasons in Ohio, right? And it goes through all the different things, the seasons that we experience. And so obviously there's winter, and we've seen winter, but then there's Fool's Spring, second winter, Spring of Deception, third winter, the pollinating, and then actual spring. Now we're somewhere in there right now. I'm pretty sure we've had winter. I'm pretty sure we've had Fool's Spring. I think we've had second winter. We may be in the Spring of Deception or with the third winter remaining, but I'm not sure yet. What are your thoughts? Where do we fall out in there?
Yes, I would say we're probably in that deception zone. It seems like normally, even in April, sometimes May, if we're really unlucky, we still get a snow. So we'll see what happens. But I even told myself this year I might wait until May 1st before I put any type of our annual seeds in the ground. Just because we've had such late snows the past couple years.
It's been really, really weird. So I don't know when we'll get through third winter, the pollinating and actual spring will set in, but we're somewhere on that time frame in there. We'll see. And that's what I wanted to ask you about next is you've got a really fascinating a couple side businesses in addition to working with us yahoos at Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet. You have a flower business, so spring is big time for you, and sorting out this weather has got to be really interesting. Tell us a little bit just about your flower business and your farm operation with your family.
Definitely. So my husband and I, we run a small grain operation, about 250 acres of corn and soybeans. And we're headed into our sixth year. So 6 years ago, we added a cut flower operation to the farm, and we grow specialty cut flowers. We started out primarily wholesaling those flowers to florists, and there was a pretty big demand, and there still is. People are finding out for local flowers in the area. Almost 80% of cut flowers in the United States are imported. So florists were thrilled to find a local flower source. But when the pandemic hit, the florists didn't need flowers, and the people weren't having weddings and funerals and dances and things like that. We'd always had people ask if they could come out to our farm and pick their own. So actually, when 2020 and I guess into 2019 COVID hit, we switched to a U-pick model with our flower farm business. And the farm's really taken off in that direction to where we now have a U-pick flower farm. And that runs through about July through mid-September. And then we have pumpkins starting in the fall. So we run that in addition to the grain farm.
Is it U-pick pumpkins as well, or how do you do that?
We do, yeah. And it normally depends on the year and the season and what our weather's like. Some years we set up like a self-serve pumpkin wagon, depending on how the crop turned out. But it's pretty much the same drill. And a lot of our folks who come out for U-pick flowers come back in the fall and get their pumpkins from us, which is great. So it's turned into a really nice addition to the farm, and a nice way to add specialty crops and kind of diversify what we're growing and bring something new to this area too.
And I want to hear a lot more about that. But first, I better talk about some of our featured audio we've got this week. We've got several. Joel Penor would talk with Melanie Strait-Bok with Farm Credit Mid-America. And they have in March one of their favorite times of the year, which is Patronage Week. Now, that doesn't come out every year, but it's basically a payback of the co-op to its members. And so they go out and present checks and so forth. So Joel and Melanie talk about that. In addition, Dusty Sonnenberg, who is off today, obviously, talked with Alex Lindsey, who's the CCA of the year, and that was back at the Conservation Tillage and Technology Conference. And that's just a nice program we want to highlight to recognize the good work that CCAs do around the state. And there's a lot of good ones out there. We're very fortunate in Ohio to have a really good batch of certified crop advisors around the state to help make some of those tricky farm decisions and help advise on the farm. And I talked with Dave Rowe. Dave is the general manager of Mid-State Wool Growers Cooperative, which is just around the corner from my house, right at the edge of Franklin and Fairfield County, in Fairfield County. And the cooperative's been around for over 100 years, and they are deciding that it's time to close their doors. The wool market is just not what it used to be, and has been a real challenge, particularly when you think about the value of a lot of the coarse wool that is in Ohio and in the Midwest. More of the fine wool comes from the Western United States, which still has a decent market, but the coarse wool really has dropped off. And then as we've seen these high fuel prices, and it gets more and more expensive to ship a lower value commodity like coarse wool, it just wasn't economically feasible anymore for them to continue to do that. So they're closing their doors. And I had a nice conversation with Dave talking about some of the ins and outs of that, of some of the changing times here we're seeing with the sheep industry in the United States, particularly the Eastern United States. So all of that audio is going to be coming up in the podcast. And be sure to check that out. It will be out on Digital Dell today. And you can check that out at the link, which will be in the comments of this video and also in the description above. So be sure to click on that and to listen to all that good audio, really good stuff. And we're going to hear a lot more from Kristin. Number one, how in the world she does all the stuff that she does, because she does a lot of stuff. And that'll all be coming up next in the podcast. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in.